the more I open my mouth, the more I realize just how dumb I am.
Oh my God, Greg, droning on and on. Shut the fuck up, dude.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100.
Keep it 100.
So chase greatness and start understanding that he's gonna make everybody better.
Tape never lies.
I don't want to see your tape breakdowns if you cannot show me things that are negative about a guy that's on your current team.
Hashtag chase greatness. Hashtag take that.
Keep it 100.
Because I'll make this one more time clear. Caden Whitlow, got it.
Keeping it 100.
He is the best quarterback I have ever scouted on tape.
The Chicago Bears select.
Guess who's back? The two dudes that kept it real. Dynamic duo that you love, the smartest man at Dr. Phil. Breaking down the film, never a problem, kick it straight. Most shows focus on stats, we focus on the tape. We keep it in 100, never running east or west. We coming with that truth, cause that's what our fans expect. Cut off the fake and anchor, moving forward to be free. But don't you worry, Shane's got the dumbest tweets. It ain't no secret, Phil and Shane got some haters. But now them out stuck like the Jew and now and laters. Debaters, draws get kicked like Coach Tabor. Cuts had to be made, we added a barber moderator. Up and down, boys got you double checking. Sad sack strolling like a fool drunk texting. Flexing on the truth cause you know they'll never change. Real, recognize real, that's what you get with Phil and Shane.
Give me some fucking names. Wait, 2 fucking games?
Fuck a play or a captain, all of the upstairs. The tape never lies, the truth. You see, we laugh, we lie, so there's no babies like Maybelline. Straight to the truth with acumen and facts. We got a stat nerd, but he's not just giving nerd stats. Car crash, big impact like trip sack. Every Wednesday night you got the smartest man Phil back. Now we know you're smiling like a fat kid with fun dip. We're back better than ever and we're keeping it 100.
Keep it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest
Keeping it
man.
100.
Keeping it 100.
Keeping it 100.
Keeping it 100.
Keeping it 100.
Keep it 100.
Yeah, exactly.
This feels so weird. What's good, TTNL fam? Thank you. Wednesday night, y'all know what it is. Y'all watching the best bear show on the planet. But first, let's do some housekeeping. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more in-depth breakdown of the film. Please subscribe to our Patreon at thetapeneverlies.com. Now that we've got that out the way, of course, we got a fun show for you guys tonight. Mini camp is starting, so I'm sure the fellas got a lot to get into. So without
Oh my fucking God.
without further ado, I'm gonna bring in the guys that you really came to see, Mr. Shane Smarty,
Yo.
and we gonna go. Is our super producer? You good?
I think he's ready to go, isn't he?
I'm ready to go.
All right, so we got the super producer, Mr. Ivan Vargas tonight.
Yes.
Right.
Ivan, the DH tonight because Mr. Atoshin.
Nope.
Phil's in a shitty situation.
He is a little under the weather, we'll say.
Nope.
Oh.
Yeah. So there will be no Philip Atoshin tonight. It'll be the lovely Miss Cherie and the equally lovely Ivan Vargas, as they say.
That's right.
But we're back. Little respite. Took a week off. Felt kind of strange last Wednesday night. I'm not gonna lie. I hung out with my kids for a while and kind of felt nice not having to do the show, break free a little bit, change it up a little bit. But now we're back, ready to roll, and the Bears had a 94-yard 2-minute drill, touchdown, and some people forgot to keep stats on that drive. It's weird how that happens. I don't know. Is Ivan froze? Or is he watching the
No,
Cubs game?
no, I'm not frozen.
All right.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
All right. So, no, it feels good to be back, man.
Yeah,
It
no,
does.
I'm taking a week off. It's always necessary, but it always feels like you always feel out of place. Like I did. I felt out of place last week. Like, what am I going to do with my hands this whole time?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm glad to see you guys. Glad to be back.
Find some things to do with your hands, all right?
Yes. We'll find it. Hey, you never know. You never know
You
what I
never
can do
know.
with these things. But anyway, I'm just
Lots
happy
of
to be
things
back.
figure out.
I'm excited for this this football season to come up. But you know what really just bothers me is like this nonstop, like, the under how everything is under a microscope. Every single fucking minute at practice, it's like this is not as serious right now as it would be in training camp. We're talking about practice right now in shorts.
Tell him, Iverson.
Do they even have shells? Do they have helmets on? No. I'm pretty sure they got their helmets. They got
they have helmets,
on.
but they're
but like
obviously no pads or anything.
Regardless, the point is, it doesn't need to be this big right now. What needs to be a focus is them getting acclimated to Ben Johnson, his rules, his offense, starting to learn how the culture is going to be moving forward. That's kind of where I see this time, being. And even Ben said it. He's like, hey man, we're working, you see Caleb excelling in these, spotlight moments, and they're working, what do you say, 90 yards, no timeouts with 1 minute left.
Yep.
And that to me, I'm like, yeah, do shit like that. Put people to the test right away. Fire right away, because this team has been coddled. Let's face it. They were coddled last year. They had an inept coach. They had, terrible decision making on offense and defense. It was just a shit show, and it's been a shit show for a long time. To see competence and to see somebody that understands, hey man, we have to challenge these guys. We can't just allow bullshit to happen, and we can't allow this team to lollygag their way through practice, lollygag their way through training camp, and then show up for the season half-ass.
I hear you, man. I listened to pretty much all of Hogan John's their newest one today, and it's with Caleb and this offense, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. It's just even the way that they describe a play, in practice, like you said, Ivan. Adam Hogue goes, Caleb dropped back. He threw a real risky throw down the middle of the field, and he hit Zacchaeus in stride. Well, it's a risky throw in fucking practice. That's what you guys have been begging for. That's what you want him to do. It's in practice. It's just,
you know how fickle Bears fans are.
Oh
Shane.
my god.
You know how they are.
But it's not just fans. It's the fucking media.
Yeah, well,
you turn on any other practice, and is it described as a risky throw that was completed down the middle of the field in stride?
But completed.
Yeah,
completed.
Ben,
and Ben also said, the complaints are he doesn't take enough shots. His deep ball accuracy needs to be that takes repetition, right? And that's what Ben mentioned in his press conference today. So what do you think they're going to have Caleb fucking do? Take a little more risk, try to throw some deep throws that are, a little tight. That's what they're asking him to do. Not throw fucking picks, but just be more aggressive when it comes to taking the shot instead of passive like they wanted him to do last season.
If Jaden Daniels makes that same pass, it's not labeled as a risky pass. It's labeled as there's the number 2 overall pick in the draft making a big time play down the middle of the field. That's not scared to throw it. It's just the way that it is. So I think the Bears players need to learn this offense. I think the Bears fans need to learn to have some confidence. And I think that the Chicago Bears media, I don't know what Pat Finley's doing. He's just trying to be the quirky guy with literally every single question.
I just stopped paying attention to him.
Caleb, does your dad speak for you? And Just it's every single question. It's nauseating at this point. It's infuriating, really. It is, and I understand that the Bears don't deserve the benefit of the doubt because they've been such an up and down team, and a lot more downs than ups. But I'm like, Jesus Christ! Every pass play comes with a critique. Oh, he was, he was 11 for 13 and 7 on 7s, but 4 of them were dump offs. And like I said, it's just the shit gets so goddamn nauseating after a while.
And this is a time for failure, right? You're implementing an
Absolutely.
offense. You're trying to implement your culture. It seems like all the coaches and players are hitting out. It seems like it's clicking right now, even though it's early. It seems like things are starting to, roll a little bit as we get closer and closer to the season. Now, inside 100 days, right? Something like that. So for me, it's let's watch how Ben progresses the team and how they go from mini camp to training camp. Then let's go ahead and take our shots after training camp. But right here in mini camp, even in rookie mini camp, it was like, come on now. Let's just pump the brakes. I know everybody's excited. I know you want to get right back to the season because of the shit show we had last year. We're hungry as fans. I get it. But to amplify what it is to be in a mini camp, getting taught up by a new head coach and coaches and a new staff, that to me is just you're trying to get clicks, or you're trying to make a story. You're just like the Caleb, pre-draft bullshit. It's the same.
Yeah,
it's that same concept. You're trying to draw up a story because you fucking really got nothing at this point. You know what I'm saying? Until training camp starts, until we see what's going on. The real story to me, a big story that people should be talking about a lot more, and they are to an extent, is Braxton Jones. You know what I'm saying? Braxton Jones needs, that to me is a huge story. That should be the story of the offseason. Is Braxton Jones going to be ready? Because like I said before, if he's ready to go, it's his show.
Yeah, and I gotta, I threw some shade at Adam Hogue for his, comment about the past, but I'll give him some credit here. And I didn't pick up on it initially when they first aired the 1920 football drive. And he picked up on it, to his credit. As soon as the Trapillo pick was made, Ian Cunningham stood up to hug Ryan Poles, and he said, now we have our offensive line. He said that immediately right after the Trapillo pick. And to me, that is absolutely significant.
Okay.
It is, and it's Ben is going to have guys that he prefers, and Roshar is going to have guys that he prefer. And I think probably if all things were being equal, if Braxton was healthy, but man, that is a very, very risky thing to say that he's out until at least training camp. Who knows when he's going to come back? A major ankle injury with a guy that's had issues with his base in the first place. I got to be honest. I am not going to be one bit surprised if Trapillo is the fixture from day one for them. Now it's going to be up to him to play well. I'm not saying that because I have my definite concerns there. But
I'm not trading Braxton at all.
Oh, no.
No. That'll be a mistake. You trade Braxton Jones, there goes depth at the left tackle spot. Like the guy
100%.
started for you. Look, I've always said it. He's a swing guy. He's a above average swing tackle, right? I think so. But he has his issues, and we see it because we break down the tape here.
Yeah.
But to go ahead and discard him, like he can't come and fill in and do a good job in a pinch when we know how this league works with injuries. That'll be negligence to me.
Yeah, and I go back to Trapillo again, and this is going to be true whether it's Braxton or even if it was Amagaji. And I mean, another thing that they did bring up, and I'll mention that too, is it kind of seems like just if you're listening to Ben Johnson, that it's going to come down to Trapillo versus Braxton Jones, and Karan is kind of on the outside looking in. We'll see how that plays out when they get the pads on and all of that. But, yeah, dude, it's just, Ivan, you've been around this long enough. End of the day, you can't take anything away from what you're seeing in or hearing in minicamp when it comes to offensive line play or anything like that. It just makes it way too tough. I'll switch it so you don't have to be Phil for the night.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. But
just took away a couple inches from my height.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Pause there. But anyways, no, what I liked today on the presser was Courtney Cronin asked him about one play when they said that he kind of got on Caleb a little bit, and she's like, she wanted him to provide more details about what Caleb did wrong, and he just immediately he was late.
Mm-hmm.
He immediately said it, and I said that is exactly what I want. And I'm not saying that him being late is what I want to hear. I want the quick response, because to me that he's telling him flat out right there. So many times with Eberflus, that would be like a 2-minute response where he would pussyfoot around. He wouldn't want to put too much shit on Caleb if it was a negative play for Caleb. Just quick, precise. He was late.
Mm-hmm.
He was late. And I told him that.
Yeah.
Those little things matter to me. And I said, these baby steps that we're taking right now with Ben Johnson, Ivan, the positive roll forward is enticing, but I still can't get on the hype train yet, because you know as well as I do, man, you get to training camp, and if it turns into Club Med and going down this fucking road that we've been in before, we know how that ends.
Yeah, I had to, Braggs. Barb said it was too big. So you want to keep going, Shane?
Yeah. Oh, geez. No comment.
Yeah, all right.
I love Barb.
We all do.
But yeah, it's just it's tough, man. It's just you want to get to the get to the training camp, and you, like you said, everybody is so starved to see and hear and every morsel of information, but then it's just like you get to a point, like we said, where it's nauseating, where it's like, oh, it was a throw down the middle, it was a beautiful throw, but man, was it risky? And then they're fucking counting almost interceptions in goddamn practice. It
almost doesn't count anywhere, bro.
How do you win? How do you win? If you don't throw picks, they want more picks. And if you throw risky balls, it's, oh, well, we're counting those as almost interceptions. So be better at your fucking job. Almost interceptions. Come on, man.
Yeah,
Come
it's like I said, looking for something to talk about at this point. And right now, I mean, it's not that it's not important, but to, like I said, to magnify it to, oh, Caleb had a shitty day. All right. He had a shitty day. He has 2 months, 3 months to correct that one shitty day in practice. And I'm not making an excuse for being late or and shit like that. But if we're talking about practice, right? I want to see how Caleb's feet are working. Is he making different decisions? Is his mindset changing here and there? I want to see the little things, the details. I could fucking care less if the ball got picked in fucking mini camp, or if you do a touchdown. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's just, to me, it's just people wanting to find a story to talk about because they're eager to get to the fucking season. That's what it is. That's all.
No, I hear you, man. And there's so many layers to this team, and it's just, holy shit. Who was it? It was it might have been Patrick Finley again today, talking to Ben Johnson and trying to get him to rehash the Tyreek Stevenson stuff, and why the fuck would Ben Johnson address that with Tyreek Stevenson a game from, what was it, week fucking 6 last year, whatever it was. I mean,
they've been addressing it all offseason. They've been addressing it since they've gotten here. They've been asked questions about it.
But then he turns around and goes to Tyreek Stevenson in his presser and asks him the same thing. So it's like, I don't believe what you're telling me, coach. So I'm going to ask the player to make sure that he says the same thing. And it's just like, God damn, talk about something else. There's plenty on this team to be talked about. Talk about Jervon Dexter. Talk about Ruben Hippolyte, who, none of us were high on, but he's been getting some positive pub from players.
Yeah,
on the team. I know that. So that's a positive, but it's just like everybody wants their gotcha moment, and the shit is just crazy. But you're right. You're heading into that dead period, for a few weeks here, and everybody is just trying to amplify every little morsel and looking for all of these clicks. I mean, Chi City Sports put out a goddamn article about Case Keenum having better arm talent than Caleb Williams. I mean, who the fuck writes that article for 5 fucking minutes and waste 5 minutes on that? It's just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, instead of that, like I said, talk about a Kyle Manning guy. Talk about how he's looking out there. Is he progressing well? Is he able? That's something that I would be interested in. You know what I'm saying? Other than like these stories about something that happened 2 fucking years ago, that was a hypothetical. You know what I'm saying? And I could care less that it came out in a book. Guys are like, did anybody that get drafted know where the fuck they were going beforehand? Did they all have questions about where they could go or how they can manipulate their weights? Of course they did, but because it's Caleb and because of the hype, it's blown up.
I was never upset at Caleb or his father for questioning the Bears organization or having their moments of pause for that, because that's exactly what the Bears deserve. My thing was, talking about it again, like after you were a Bear, because it sounded like there was like another meeting or whatever where they talked later. It's just like at that point when you're on the team, no good is going to come from it. Absolutely none. And you see what ESPN's thought process was here with Wickersham and his book. I mean, the fucking schedule comes out and bam, the Bears are on Monday Night Football. And where does Monday Night Football air? On ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
Wickersham is from where? There. Oh, let's hype this up. Week 1 game, Bears versus Vikings. Oh, Caleb liked the thought of being in Minnesota. That's what all that is. That the media is, or the NFL is a freight train. That they're making billions because they're really, really good at what they do. They know how to squeeze every fucking, morsel out of a fucking rock. They're technically doing their job, I guess, but we've been beaten down so much for so many years, Ivan. Of course, we're going to react to everything, to absolutely everything. So I guess, like you said initially at the beginning of the show, we're just as guilty as the media is and as some of the players are at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it'll be this way for a little bit, but I'm just happy to hear the things that are starting to come out. Like, not the Caleb had a bad guy, threw a pair, whatever the fuck, but like I said, the coaching staff, Ben Johnson, how he handled himself at the podium. That to me speaks volumes to how he runs things, about how he, carries himself, about how he carries himself, not only to the media, but, out in the public and with his teammate. He seems like the same fucking guy, whenever he does, with whatever he does. He has that same mentality. He's the same dude. and I'm hoping the Cubs come back in this fucking game right here. Sorry for looking away, but again, I'm happy to have competence. That it seems like somebody who's confident and ready to take the helm and doesn't just let little shit like being late pass. Like I feel like that would have been ignored. That would have been totally ignored in past regimes because they coddled them too fucking much. I don't think this guy's gonna coddle him, man.
No, I don't either. And actually, I guess let me bring up the presser because I thought Johnson had, I thought it was pretty good on his part, and we'll play a little bit of it here because I mean we definitely have more than enough time to just listen to him, and I guess we can kind of. Did you get to watch it today?
I heard a couple of bits and pieces, and then I had to get back to work.
Yep. But we'll just play it, and we can kind of react to it, and you will see some of the questioning, and then I didn't even get to the Jaquan Brisker part where they must have asked him about his concussion about 18 different ways, and it just went on and on and on and on. But here's Coach Johnson.
Got some good work in today. Switched it on over to some situational things. You guys saw that out there, which was really nice to see. Unscripted things, really everything that had been installed over the last few weeks was up, and we'll see the tape to see who handled it and who didn't. Some guys better than others, you could tell out there, but it was good to see. It felt more like football, even though we don't have the pads on, and then some 2-minute, 4-minute type stuff popped in there as well, which was really nice to see. In regards to the team, we had 2 guys that we know about that were excused for personal reasons. That was kind of to be anticipated, but other than that, we're all set and we're all ready to go. So I'll open it up from there.
And was Jalen Johnson one of the excused guys?
Yes. Yep.
Were you able to tell us the other one?
Elijah Hicks.
I think it was a 94-yard 2-minute drive that ended in a touchdown today. Just what did you like about the operation or how that all went?
Yeah, I mean, I know you haven't been to every single OTA so far, but I would say the defense has gotten the better of the offense more often than not in all of those 2-minute, whether it's end of half or end of game. So it was good to see the offense stack a few plays together. That's a very tough situation. I think it was 90+ yards in under a minute with no timeouts, and so it was cool to see them stack some plays. See Caleb really. What we thought about him was when the lights are bright that he was going to show up, and it felt like the game slowed down a little bit for him, and he was able to just go out and find an open guy and get a completion. So that was good to see. Well, there might have been some sacks mixed in there, so it was a little bit more slanted to the offense. But in terms of the drill and the situations that came up, I thought it was really good learning for everybody.
What does a young quarterback have to do to improve deep ball accuracy?
Repetition.
Imagine that.
I was there. I had that narrative in Miami when we drafted Tannehill in 2012, 2013, that he struggled with the deep ball, and you just keep focusing on it. You get close with your receivers. It doesn't matter if you're throwing the ball deep, throwing it short, but it takes some time to develop chemistry, and once you get that done, then usually it becomes clockwork after that. So it's just the more repetitions we get as a unit, the better off we're going to be.
With Brisker, what were your thoughts on him coming in before you saw him out on the pads? Seen him in the division for a couple of years, and then I'm sure looking at film when you got here.
Yeah, he was a guy that you had to earmark and just make sure you knew where he was when you game plan against him, because he was very active, particularly in the run game. He liked to come down and fill in the box and played like a linebacker that happened to be a defensive back and not afraid to hit you. So we always told the receivers that they had to make sure they accounted for him. And so can't see that right now without the pads, but you can certainly see an active player that he's excited, he's passionate about the game, and he loves playing football. He likes to talk a little bit too, which I appreciate.
You have missed as much time as he did, though. He talked about like retraining his nervous system. Do you see any hesitation in him and just what you're working through right now because of the concussion?
No, well, I mean, everyone's learning. And so if there's any glimpses, little hiccups, it's usually because they're trying to process what they're seeing out in front of them and what the rules of the defense are. And so there's a little bit of that going on, but I can't think of anything out of the ordinary for where he's at, the position he's playing, or his colleagues out there as well.
And Tyreek Stevenson, obviously last year you had the Hail Mary play.
Here we go, Pat.
A big storyline nationally. Have you talked to him about it and had a back and forth with him about, hey, what happened here? Hey, you can't do that. Anything like that?
No, I think he learned his lesson from that, and his peers have certainly talked to him about it, and it wasn't really any reason for me or the staff to piggyback on that, because he's learned from it, he's grown from it, and what's in the past is in the past, and we're moving forward.
What do you make of him from what you've seen in practice?
Well, what we love about him is he's got some length and he's not afraid, which I think those are two
Why don't you
things
just
that you really need
fucking
to
ask
play.
if you're gonna
Corner,
cut him?
the style of corner that
Yeah,
we're looking for,
that's-
guys that'll come
like-
up,
That's
they'll
what
challenge,
he's
they'll
trying
get
to steer him
hands-on.
in that. I don't think he's ever going to come out and
Pressed
say
man to
that.
man
But
is
he's trying to
something
get a
that we're gonna
negative
do
comment.
a healthy amount of, and we feel like he fits that mold really well. And so once again, he's learning the scheme. There's some different things that DA and Al Harris and the rest of the crew are asking of him, but he's been very receptive so far, and he's a young, hungry player, just like a lot of these guys.
Your time with Goff in Detroit, what did you learn about the connection piece between play caller and quarterback? And
So let me pause it right there because I just want to. So Shannon put this up there. They didn't say strengthen; they said retrain. And actually, Jaquan Brisker comes up and talks specifically about that, where that was something that the doctor that he was dealing with for his concussion told him that was something that he was going to have to do. So he got in a little bit more detail about that, but it was, just I am a huge Jaquan Brisker fan on the field. Love his play, and I think when he's out there, the Bears are obviously a better football team. But I have major concerns about his viability moving forward, because he's had a concussion every year in the league. He had him back at Penn State on top of shoulder issues, and this last one, I mean, don't forget that was in the Panthers game. That was when the Bears were rolling early on. Who was it? Tommy Tremble?
Mm-hmm. That was Tommy Trump. Me and Alan. I remember because we were both like zoned in, and as soon as it happened, we're just like, "Holy shit!" Like he's done.
But then, exactly. And I mean, he. It's just, to me, it's a major concern, and I'm not trying to bag on Jaquan Brisker at all. We got a chance to talk to him and shoot shit with him for a couple of minutes when we were in Buffalo, and he took a picture with my son and stuff like that. Great person, great guy. I think he's the when you talk about setting your culture, it's easy to talk about setting your culture. You have to talk about your culture and then go get those guys that fit that culture and kind of let them build it from the floor up. Let the players build the culture. Bill Belichick at one point said, "Hey, if anything comes across my desk like a concern in the locker room, it's already too late. It shouldn't ever have to get to my desk if you have the proper people in the locker room."
Yeah, that chain of command, man.
Right. And
that's what it is. Yeah.
And Ivan, the Bears, they may have a handful of players, let's say maybe 6 or 7, but they have to get more. Listen, and I don't want to bag on Grady Jarrett. I think he's an excellent player, but that's why you overpay for Grady Jarrett. Is because is his play on the field going to be a foundational piece of your team? We'll see. I hope so. But he can be a foundational piece in the locker room with setting the culture and how you want it to be moving forward. You hear talks already of, Grady Jarrett praising Jervon Dexter in his leadership role, and Jervon going out of his way and inviting Grady down to Miami. He set up to get the D linemen and some of the linebackers down in Miami to work out. But that's where it starts. Just talking about culture doesn't mean shit. You have to talk about it, put in place what you want, and then you have to feed it. You have to go out and bring those players in.
Absolutely.
That are going to do it. And it's It's absolutely critical, and that it's exactly why the Bears haven't been good, because they've just been all over the map with how they build their team, and it's never been along the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and that's always where it starts. Just not in Chicago. That's why you don't win consistently. So it just is what it is, man. But listen, I get nauseated by the negativity around the team and I know people get mad at us here at TTNL because we talk about so much negative, but it's
when you lived it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you lived it, it's hard not to point these things out, especially as we're building, right? As we're growing with the Ben Johnson regime, you still get these fucking questions, right? And to an extent, it's understandable, but to the way Pat Finley was been pushing it, and the way I'm sure they've already answered it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what do you want Ben Johnson to punish him right now for something he did under Eberflus? Like that, it doesn't make sense. But like, in order for me to really believe that this team is going to take a step, I need to see more of this. I need to see more of that culture. I need to see more of the guys that we brought in to help change that culture. You know, I want to see that infectious type of vibe with everybody else. And if Javon Dexter is being praised by
Grady Jarrett.
Grady Jarrett, thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. That means the idea, the plan is working slowly but surely. That's all I got to say. Slowly but surely. Hopefully that, by the time training camp, comes along, these guys are at some type of, same page. Not maybe the same page, but close to it. We're in the same chapter. We'll say that.
Yeah, and Shannon brings this up, and this has been a big talking point, and the body language. And listen, this is something that's went way back to, that used to be a big thing with Jay Cutler, but I got to be honest, I also understand it to a point also. When you are the number one pick in the draft, and I'm going to lay this at Caleb's feet a little bit and hold him accountable here. When you're the number one pick in the draft, and I understand you're getting the shit beat out of you and your team is losing and stuff like that, but listen, it's a bad comparison, but you look back when the Bulls couldn't beat the Pistons, and the Bulls would react to every bad call, to every hard foul, and they would let it dictate how they moved forward. And then they got, 91 came around, they got mentally strong enough, and Horace was always the last one. And I remember in the one playoff game, Horace got hammered, and MJ went up to him, and he's like, don't let them see you react that way. Once you do that, they got you. And that has to be the mentality of Caleb. Yeah, if you get the shit kicked out of you, I get it. Do I want you rolling your eyes and laying down on the bench like, holy fuck? No, I don't. And, DJ got called out for it too. And I honestly have no problem whatsoever with Ben Johnson doing that. And Shannon was comparing it to Tom Brady. Well, Tom Brady has a few more, pelts on the wall than Caleb does. And
I don't know if Tom was doing that year 1 or 2.
Yeah,
you
right.
know what I mean?
But it's just I'm a believer in it. Like I said, I talk to my son about this all the time because you see it in kids' sports, and the Connecticut women's basketball coach Gino Auriemma, he talks about body language all the time, and he has a camera during the games fixated on the players on the bench, and they review that. And the players on the bench, if they aren't involved in the game, if they're goofing off, if their body language is bad, he says, you will not play ever for me with your body language like that. And he snatched, girls off of the basketball court that are exhibiting, bad body language but Is it a huge deal? No, but I think it's something that you have to address early and get it taken care of. And I'm glad that Ben did it. You know, we defended DJ last year when he walked off the field. And how many times do we see DJ sitting on the bench and he's 30 yards away from everybody? And, you know, he was frustrated. And I understand it. But you're only making things worse for yourself by doing something like that. Go out there and make a fucking play. Did DJ Moore make enough plays last year? No, he didn't. There's a lot of blame to go around, but I'm not going to kill him for the body language stuff because I think that there is a layer to it that is critical for any football team when you talk about the mental part of the game.
Yeah, just trying to get past that, right? Like trying to get past what happened last season and trying to move on and move forward to this season, particularly with Caleb, right? Like, I think Caleb, to an extent, wanted, and you can see kind of how he was frustrated, when he went up to the podium. He didn't even want to be there, and I could understand it because it really didn't matter. But
we didn't want to be there when we were in Chicago watching the game.
Right. But to me, it's like that is a part of his growth too. Like that, that is a part of getting past not only defeating yourself, right? Because you're fucking frustrated. You don't want to be up there. You don't want to answer something that you feel like you don't have to fucking answer, right? But to me, him going up there and taking a step forward and taking a stand, saying, "Hey, I'll explain to you what my thought process were." That to me was a huge step for him. Yep. It mentally as a person and as a leader of the team, right? You want the leader of the team to step up and be the leader, and that's what he did.
And Juice brings up a good point here too. And I mean, I get the human element of it. I do. I completely understand that. And there is you want them to be natural with it, but it doesn't mean that you still can't improve it. You know what I mean? And it's just there's a fine line between natural and laying down on the bench and shit like that. If it's that bad, then go into the fucking medical tent. Just go see the trainer, go into the medical tent and do that shit in there. Go get checked out. And those are the little things. But this is what I like about Ben Johnson is that shit is getting handled up front, and he's also making a point of it that it's not everybody. When I say everybody, I'm not talking about the fans, but the media and the national media especially want this to be a Caleb Williams issue solely. You have people like Ross, he's not even going to be the Bears quarterback in the next 3 years. And then you have all these other guys that are, I question Caleb Williams' character and all of this bullshit, none of which is true.
Mm-hmm.
It's all of this bullshit like you were talking about. They were killing the kid for the color of his fucking phone case, for Christ's sake. Do I have a pink phone case? No.
At a breast cancer awareness basketball game.
Do I give a fuck what color phone case somebody else has? No. It probably says more about yourself if you have an issue with that you're judging somebody by their fucking phone case. It just is what it is. But man, they going out of their way to pile on the fucking kid. Does Caleb need to be better? 100%. Mm-hmm. Does he need to work on his deep ball? 100%. Does he need to work on getting the ball out quicker? 100%. You know who else does? Every other fucking quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah. Right.
I would love to see what these other rookie quarterbacks that are so much better than Caleb is or was last year, what they would have done with the fucking chaos in Chicago that Caleb faced. So many people, it's the best situation a rookie quarterback has ever come into in the history of the league. It's the best. And it was so fucking far from it that it wasn't even funny. It wasn't the best. It was horrible. Head coach, horrible. Offensive line coach, horrible. OC, even worse. Not to mention ownership and all of that, and Ryan Poles miscues, and just on and on and on and on. I don't get it, man. There's so many more things to worry about on this team, to me, than the talent and ripping Caleb Williams for, his phone case, or I guess it just comes with the territory. That end of the day, that's something he's just going to have to deal with. And the Bears, listen, the elixir for all of this is to fucking win, and to win consistently. Once you start doing that, the shit all goes away.
Yeah, and there's plenty of players around the league that have spoken up and said, "Hey, if this kid gets, with the right people, he's going to be good. Like, he's going to take a step. It's just about getting him the right tutelage." And we talked about his, that generational word and the talent. Yeah, but talent needs to be groomed, right? He may I believe he has superstar fucking talent, but even that talent needs to be groomed.
100%, Ivan. Chris Harold, our guy, we were talking back and forth. I think he had some posts on Patreon about it, and he's a Philly guy. And as much as I hate the fucking team, but when you're talking about cultivating talent,
right?
Look at Jordan Mailata, a 7th round draft pick that was a fucking rugby player. Now, yes, Jordan Mailata has the talent and the God-given ability and the physical attributes. You got to give the Philadelphia Eagles organization all the credit in the fucking world to not only discover him, but to get that talent to bubble up to the surface that makes him a top 3 left tackle in the entire fucking league.
Right.
As a rugby player that never played football. I mean, the Bear, don't get me started there to go down this defensive end ridiculousness with the Chicago Bears. 10 since 2005. 10.
Before you go there, Shane, another example, and I guess the prime example is Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Right. It's why Ben's probably a lot of reason why Ben is here, because you had a 1st-round talent in Jared Goff, and people believe that he was going to be a huge star in the league. He has great arm, great accuracy. He's coming out. He's a top quarterback, but you get to the Rams, and we all knew that Rams team was defense and running the football. You know what I'm saying? And he kind of did his thing there, but with his struggles, here comes Ben, and he corrects things. And now all of a sudden, Jared Goff becomes this superstar. Well, not the superstar, but the savior of Detroit overnight, essentially, because he was brought up correctly, because he was taught correctly. He had to adjust certain things. You had a guy that was so focused on the details of his quarterback that he got him to correct those mistakes and turn
100%.
him into victory. So I just believe that we need time to allow Caleb to grow, but it's just I believe that this is the guy and this is the mentality to get these players to develop the way we want them.
I agree, man, and that's the thing. Giving him time, he's played 17 games. And people like Ross Tucker, because of a fucking comment that was made in an ESPN author's book that is coming out in September, is writing the kid off in the city of Chicago already at 23 years old. They had 3,500 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 6 picks as a rookie.
Right.
Leading a fucking circus. Ross Tucker, you look like and sound like a moron.
Fucking clown.
And it's not even logical. It's not. And I understand you're going to get Detroit fans and guys like Peter Bukowski and all of the shit that are going to The Bears are low-hanging fruit to pick on. But guess what, Detroit? You haven't won a fucking thing. You haven't. Minnesota, guess what? You haven't won a fucking thing. Green Bay, guess what? You haven't won since what, 2011? Great. Bears still suck, right? Like Green Bay always says. So great job beating a team that sucks. That's the rivalry. We suck, but we just beat you in Lambeau. We'll see how it goes. But I'm so sick and tired of Detroit and Minnesota and Green Bay getting put on this pedestal when none of them have won a fucking thing. None.
I agree.
Especially Minnesota and Detroit. Green Bay I can give a pass because they obviously, when we're talking about cultivating, they obviously have the quarterback shit figured out over the past 35 fucking years. And that's a testament to them. I get, okay, great.
And Detroit has their issues now, Shane. You know,
fuck yeah.
Ragnow retiring that's not
our center didn't retire, right?
Right. No, that's right. I can't wait to be in Detroit on Sunday. I can't wait. I can't wait. I'll just let you guys know. I'm going to go to Cubs Tigers game in my Caleb jersey with my Cubs hat on. So I'm sure I'm going to be getting some type of shit talking thrown my way. But regardless, it's. Let's just go ahead and go back to Ben because
and Robert brought this up. I saw some people make that comment, and Robert, I guarantee you, it's the people that are making that comment are Bears haters or Green Bay fans or Minnesota fans or Detroit fans.
Mm-hmm.
It's just whatever. But just back to if the Bears lost everything that Detroit has lost, or the best team in the league loses what Detroit has lost, it's going to affect your team. Detroit fans just haven't figured that out yet. We'll see how it goes. And they have a bad schedule on top of it. If you want to have a good time, go look at the Detroit Lions road schedule this year and then get back to me and tell me how easy they're going to have it as they're settling into this new coaching staff and the new center of their line and all of that. But
they might have the leader to do it, head coach, but again, that's not something you could just recover from overnight.
Oh no, 100%. Listen, he could absolutely figure it out, but he could absolutely fall on his face.
Mm-hmm.
He hired the right guys the first time, and that's a credit to him. Is he going to do it again? We'll soon see. Because once you start winning, everything gets more difficult. Then you get the target on you, and like I said, go look at that. Go look at that road schedule that Detroit has, man. It ain't no fucking joke.
Yeah.
It's really not. And you're also in a division that, with the shitty ass Bears, played you pretty tough 2 weeks in a row. You're in a pretty goddamn good division. And if our head coach can call a fucking timeout, you might have fucking lost to the Bears on Thanksgiving Day. But, yeah, back to Ben.
What did you learn about developing a quarterback?
Yeah, I think it goes beyond that for me. It goes back, like I brought up Tannehill before, and it started with him, and then we had a number of guys that were in that quarterback room in Miami, different quarterback coaches, different play callers, same thing in Detroit, whether it was Stafford or Goff, different guys, and you pick different things up out of all of them. I think there needs to be. You use the word accountability. It's like that for every position, but certainly that position, you got to be able to tell them when it's good and when it's not good enough in front of their peers. And then we spent a lot of time together one-on-one as well. I thought that was some of the best things that I did when I became coordinator was the quarterback and the play caller need to see the play exactly the same. And so you don't develop that trust unless you spend a lot of time together. And for whatever reason, if you do it in the room with all the other.
Did you just hear what he said? You develop that trust by spending a lot of time together in the same room. pretty interesting, right? And what happened? Did anybody hear about Caleb with the being at Hallis Hall and watching? Yes, I understand there's going to be times when he's watching it by himself. That's what any legitimate big-time quarterback should be doing. In Hallis Hall, at home. I get it. It sure doesn't sound like they were doing that much at all together at Hallis Hall. So what Ben Johnson just said right there is significant. I'll back it up just a little bit so you can hear it again.
Exactly the same. And so you don't develop that trust unless you spend a lot of time together. And for whatever reason, if you do it in the room with all the other quarterbacks, sometimes you can get a little defensive. Whereas when it's one-on-one, the truth can come out and no one's feelings are going to get hurt, and each person can speak the truth. And so I guess those are some of the things that I have learned over the years.
When does that trust process become, I guess, the most critical when you're building something from scratch like you're doing here? Like when you get into camp, will there be more one-on-one time because you're starting to refine what you want to do offensively, or is it just all everything?
Yeah, I mean, we'll take advantage of whatever time we're allowed to spend with these players. Right now, we're limited. This week, we actually get a little bit more than what we've had in the past few. But yeah, certainly camp, and then once we get into game weeks, there's going to be a lot of time spent with the staff and with myself as the play caller.
But there was a teaching moment with Caleb at the end of that last 7-on-7 where he went to the flat for Roshan. What were you trying to? Was he supposed to go somewhere else with that? Did you see something?
No, he was late, so he needs to get there faster.
How is he responding in those sorts of moments?
Awesome. Yeah, he's doing a great job. He's very coachable, and it's like anything. It's a new play, and so we're just communicating what the expectations are, and we want to see it show up on the tape.
That's the thing right there, and it's something so simple. And Flus could easily butcher that when he was here. Rather than just coming out and saying, hey, Caleb was late. It's a play that we just installed, and it's going to happen. But I have to set the tone with the expectations of what needs to happen. Every single time this play is run, you got to get the fucking ball out. And it doesn't sound like that happened. It wasn't a priority. It was just like, all right, you should know that. With Ben, it instills a confidence by hearing him speak to it that way. Now, you're going to give him the benefit of the doubt there because you like what he's saying. Now it's got to transfer to the field and, more importantly, to wins. But did you ever come away from anything with Flus where any of it inspired confidence?
No.
Never.
Flus
Half
talked
the
in
time-
circles most of the time.
Exactly.
How your attention to detail and your ability to let them know immediately when something's not the way you want it is striking to them. Does that come from a coach that you played under? Do you have influences in terms of that specific trait? Or are you just like that in real life, outside of football too? Where do you think it comes from?
Fucking
I don't know. I've probably seen more bad football than I've seen good football over my time in this league. And so it's trying not to make the same mistakes as the people I've been around maybe in the past that I perceived as mistakes. And I don't think you can let things slide. I think offensive football is about precision. And so it's a constant communication of what that should look like. And when they hit the mark, we love them up. And when we fall short, then we got to let them know so we get it better next time.
And when we were talking with Grady Jarrett, he singled out Jervon Dexter as a guy stepping up in a leadership role, organizing guys, bringing them to Miami. Is there any ways in which, from your seat, you've noticed Jervon maybe stepping into a little bit of a leadership role?
Well, it's hard to compare because I've only been with him now for 7 weeks, 8 weeks. But I can tell you this, just from afar, having called plays against him, he was a guy that really came on last year. You could feel it, with Billings being out.
So I want to give TTNL some love. if you go back to the draft when the Bears drafted Jaquan Dexter and then Zach Pickens, we said to a man, all of us here, Ivan, that, the Bears got their 3 tech and they got their 1 tech. And then Courtney Cronin at the post-draft presser after everything was wrapped up was talking to the coaching staff and to Ryan Poles, or talking to the head coach and Ryan Poles. And she said about Dexter being the 3 tech and about Pickens playing the 1. And Phil and I, maybe, I don't know I can't remember if you were on with us at that point, but like, she's got to have that backwards. Cause it never, Jaquan Dexter to me was never a 3 tech, just body wise, especially with what Flus was running with his defense. But now that, what he's going to talk about here, with Billings being out, Billings being your 1 tech, but Dexter is in there running that. And to me, that's obviously his more natural position where I think he's going to flourish even more as a defensive lineman.
Right. Well, hopefully, because, and I hope that this rotation helps him now that you added, Grady Jarrett in there, and hopefully that helps him. The question is that you're still, in what's our new tackle? I forgot his name too. Shamar Stewart.
Yeah.
Shamar Stewart. So, even with him going into the rotation, seeing him there a lot, you're going to see him there
Tony?
some more times than he's been there in the past, I believe. And, I don't know what's going to happen with Pickens, but I remember that. I remember Pickens was supposed to be the 3, and it was going to be Javon
by our book. I don't know if the Bears ever
that's
had
what
that
we
in the
called.
cards.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what we called. Yeah.
And because I remember, I didn't call Courtney out, but I'm like, I think she just said that backwards. And obviously she had caught some wind of maybe talking to somebody behind the scenes.
There we go. Turner. Thank you, guys.
Yep. And it just it never quite fit. But I'm very interested to see what Dennis Allen can do with a guy like Jaquan Dexter. And they're talking about Dangbo has been out, and believe it or not, do you know who's been going with the 1s at defensive end? Yeah, Dominique Robinson. So that's something else that's interesting. But let me turn this back over to Ben.
Last year, could feel him grow into just a little bit more of, hey, I need to step up here. And you could see it. You could see it on the tape. There's growth. There's more production, particularly in the pass rush game. And I think what we've seen here from the D-line room as a whole, we've seen a lot of guys that are pushing, they're growing. I like to spend a lot of time down there during individual because it's not just great work, technique work they're getting, but they're coaching each other up along the way as well. So we got a great cohesive unit. And then when we get the pads on, it's going to be a really healthy competition as well.
I know you said that, obviously we don't see every single practice that you guys have out here, but from your eyes, was this the best that you've seen Caleb Williams so far in terms of what he did in practice today?
Hard to say. Yeah, you got to look at the tape to be sure about that, but it certainly felt like he had some good moments in there. So maybe we need just a little bit of drizzle every day and we'll pull out the best.
Yeah, so that was Ben Johnson right there. I mean, do you have any big takeaways from that, Ivan?
No, not really. I mean, I'm impressed with how he's commands the question. Like he pretty much takes the question and gives you a straight answer. Like you said, it's not beating around the bush, but what he was talking about, preparing these guys for competition, being down there during individual, the details, and more details. That's what was fucking lacking. And to go ahead and like I said, I'll mention it again. You're late. I'm going to jump on your fucking ass because this is how it's supposed to be.
Right.
Always. Not fucking sometimes. Always. That I love. That is
I
been
hear you.
needed here for forever.
Absolutely. And Ivan, these guys, we heard them openly talk about it last year over and over and over again. And listen, we've all been on teams and we all know, none of us played in the NFL, none of us played professionally, but at the end of the day, listen, every player is different, but most of damn near all of the really good ones, and I've been lucky enough where I've been able to go into some college locker rooms and stuff like that. The good ones want to be coached up, and they want to be coached up hard. It's the ones that that are affected by yelling that they're never going to live up to their true potential. And I'm not saying that you need to break fucking shit on the sidelines and stuff like that, but it's holding these fucking guys accountable in front of one another.
Mm-hmm.
With these, team sessions when you're breaking down the game from the day before and you're not holding guys accountable, well, then what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
It means that there's no fucking respect anywhere. It's like, yeah, I fucked up. It's not like where I'm going to get reprimanded for it.
Oh yeah, he apologized by tweeting it. Remember?
Yeah,
He
right. Oh yeah,
apologized.
he tweeted that. That was enough. Can you imagine being in that position? And I know Phil and I talked about it on BHL that fucking night. Tyreek Stevenson would have known his fate if I was the general manager and Phil was the head coach. He would have known his fate on the fucking plane before we landed back at O'Hare.
No doubt.
100%.
No doubt. I wanted to cut him right there in the stadium with Kerry.
And
Me and Kerry were ready.
we got to fucking Tuesday and even into Wednesday. And then Tyreek sends out the tweet. And that was it. He was at practice.
Mm-hmm.
And then remember, he left because he had to clear his head. He had to calm down because that's where they told him. That is malpractice on Matt Eberflus's part, and it's egg on Ryan Pohl's fucking face and Kevin Warren and George McCaskey and the entire organization. Something like that happens, we probably wouldn't even have been on the plane.
Nope.
And it would have been addressed with Tyreek.
Yep. I mean that locker room would have been lit. If I were the coach in the let's say it was you and Phil, like you said, you and Phil, that would have been one heated fucking locker room. I would have motherfucked everybody, top to fucking bottom, from not calling a timeout before the fucking play to fucking Jaquan Dexter fucking with the fans, do whatever the hell he was fucking doing.
Right.
Everybody would have fucking got it right there in that fucking locker room in Washington.
And don't forget, what do you hear every single coach say? That every single rep matters. It's a game of inches. Every inch matters because at the end of the game, all those inches add up, right?
Yep.
Flus came right out and said that those 13 yards that they gave away to Jaden Daniels freely, those didn't matter. So of course they didn't respect the guy. But those are going to be teaching moments for Benja. You cannot have shit like that. It doesn't fucking matter. Listen, if you have a guy on your, I'll just say if it's Caleb and he fucks up like that or does something really, really stupid, you got to hold all these guys accountable. Hold their feet to the fucking fire no matter what. And that's how you set the tone. Fans may not like it. Media's going to have a fucking field day with it. But that's where you're going to earn your respect. And then you're going to earn the respect from us fans by putting out a quality product that we're going to be able to have fun again and watch every week and not have to listen to a DDP rant every single fucking Sunday on BHL. We don't want to do that, guys. We don't want to.
We don't want to be
part
angry.
of the script. We want to be probably one of the funnest times I've ever had in the history of TTNL was watching the fucking game with Ivan and Phil, and Ivan and my reaction and the Bears weren't even fucking playing. It was Houston and the Colts when the Bears secured the #1 pick. We lost our fucking minds like we lost like we had just won the Super Bowl. We want to experience that fun with the Bears and having this on the fucking field, but there's just so much chaos and little morsels of positivity that it's hard to focus in on that. That's why when you look at what we talk about, it's mainly negative. Because look at the Bears over the past 40, 50, 60, 70 years. There's a whole shitload of negative. They don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. They just don't.
No. We want to give happy rants, Javon. Happy rants. That's what we want to do.
So let me bring this. This is Jaquan, and I'm a Brisker fan, and I think it was Mike had in the chat that he's not Sean Taylor. Well, yeah, he's not Sean Taylor. He's not Ed Reed. He's not. We're not expecting him to be that. We get it, but he's a very good player when he's in there. But it's.
I was gonna say, who the fuck is Sean Taylor?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that guy was one generation, but
2004. But yeah, it's I got to give Jaquan his props here because they batter this dude with the concussion questions and they get their answer and then they double and triple and quadruple down.
Jaquan, how's it feel to just be in this position right here talking to media as a regular procedure?
Yep, it feels great. It feels great to be back here. Hope you guys miss me. But yeah, it feels great to be back in action and obviously be back talking to the media. So
You were outspoken while you were out. How was that dealing with that part?
Say it again.
How was it navigating just being out and not being able to participate like you wanted to?
Yeah, I mean it's hard. I love football. Been playing since I was 4. It's hard being away from ball. So just had to keep my mind right and just lock in.
At the risk of a silly question, what did it feel like when week by week by week you still went?
Does everybody know the question, the answer to that
hard,
already?
Being away from football,
You do.
especially week to week. It was kind of getting sad and depressing and things like that. But got over it. It's time to move on, and I'm back now.
Physically, how did you feel
during?
When you were still in protocol, did it feel normal? Did it feel like something was off?
He had a
Yeah, I'll say
concussion,
so.
Pat.
I felt like I was off, or I would have been able to be out there. So definitely felt like something was off. Didn't want to get back out there till I felt like me.
How do you weigh? That you had to retrain your nervous system. What does that mean, and what did that look like?
Well, so I went to a doctor in Pittsburgh, and he basically just explained the type of concussion I had and told me how to retrain it. So really just doing exercises, and that's really what I had to do. And then I did further more later on when I got to California.
What kind of concussion did you have?
Vascular. That's what he told me. So.
Was this at the University of Pittsburgh? Was that the
UPMC.
UPMC?
Yep.
What are the exercises you did?
Just like side to side movements, a lot of tennis ball catching and things like that. Just trying to track my eyes, get my eyes moving around, get my body moving around, fast and things like that. Just reacting.
Do you still do that now?
I mean, I'm fine, but I just go through my regular routine.
There's a lot of talk about you in terms of your long-term health, just because you've had multiple concussions. People wondering how durable you are and how long you could withstand this. Does that go through your head too? Are you worried about yourself?
No, I'm not. I'm good. I'm past that point. I'm really moving on. So I'm just focused on playing ball. I'm really cleared, man, and I'm really good. So.
How did you balance that? Were there people telling you, hey, you might want to think about, I don't know, the R word, retirement or something like that? Like just how serious these have been. Was that a conversation at all?
No. Not with no one, especially not myself, not with my parents. Like, I feel like if my parents
they ain't done.
say something,
They ain't done.
it's deep. So
D. Levine.
if it didn't come from them or come from me, I'm good. I didn't hear it, to be honest.
You feel like you can play the same way? Like, when the injury happened, like they said, you did absolutely nothing wrong on the play, it's just basically being unlucky.
Say it again?
I'm wondering if you feel like you can play the exact same way you always have. You have to change.
Yeah, I'm gonna continue to play the same way. That was my first time really having a contact injury. He hit his head on my neck, so it kind of just, hit his helmet on the right spot, but really just moving on from that.
Are you eager?
Why it lasted as long as it did?
I don't know. I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. I don't know. I don't know why it lasted that long.
Did you feel like you were, is a win in November? Did you feel like next week I'm going to be there? Like,
To be honest, my mom asked me every single day, "Are you okay? I told her I'm about to be playing this week. I really thought I was fine. To be honest, I mean it was just a hard process, a hard thing. Obviously, I wanted to be out there to play football, but I just couldn't. I just physically couldn't. But every day, told my mother I will be playing this game. Every time I came here, I just couldn't get past certain process. So
it was sad and depressing at times. How did you mentally get through that? Mentally, sort of stay with it.
I mean, I'm a Brisker, so we're strong. So got people behind me, things like that, and I dealt with so much more things worse than that. So this is just another bump in the road, to be honest. So just kept my head down forward.
Sorry to interrupt you. How would you describe sort of the support from your teammates during that?
Yeah, my teammates really helped me with get the stress
talk
down,
to me.
because I was, I wanted to be out there bad, super bad, and I just couldn't. And a lot of teammates helped me, especially shout out to Montez and things like that. Shout out to teammates like that who were talking to me, who let me get into the hyperbaric chamber and things like that. Just just told me just relax, we got this, things like that. And once they told me that, I was more relaxed. Byron and KB, I can name so many. So I appreciate it.
Fuck you,
for sure.
bullets.
What does it mean? We've heard you've been very vocal and very animated out on the field just through this off season. What does it mean just to be back out there and with your team?
He just
I'm just blessed
fucking
to play
told
football.
you,
It
lady.
means a lot. Obviously, I love playing football. So just being
That was
out
Miss
there,
Dion.
especially coming from where I'm from, or just seeing what I've seen. There's so many people who want to be in this position. So many people who just want to be in my shoes. So I'm just blessed, just to be here, and it means a lot. I don't take it for granted. Never took it for granted even before I got hurt. I always thank God. Always thankful to be on the field. Always say my prayer after 50, whatever it may be. I'm really blessed to be here. You know what I mean? So.
Are you curious what it's going to feel like when the pads come on and you have to hit somebody?
No. If you watch out there, I'm not curious. I won't hit right now. So, no, I'm not curious.
You jumped over the podium and fucking leveled back in.
Nothing really changes. It's just I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to be a lot more mentally
Come here, Pat, let me
focused.
show you.
My mind is really probably 5-6 years new or whatever the doctor said. I did so much work, so I'm really past it. I'm really moving on.
One more question, at least for me, about the concussion is, you guys are getting ready to get on a plane to go to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
When did you know there was something wrong? I mean, it was that day, but I mean, what felt different?
Really, the night before, I really was gonna force myself to go. That's how bad I want to play football. I was gonna force myself to go. I knew something was going on, and but something in my head was telling me, "No, you can't go." So I went to go tell, our doctors, and that's what happened.
How did you know something was going on? Did you feel funny or?
Yeah, no, I felt.
This is my last
I was
one.
at nighttime. Body.
This is my last one.
Felt a little off.
No, this is my last
Yeah.
one.
What were the multiple instances where you finished a game and then been out for an extended period of time? What do you do with that personally?
You're 7
I
minutes
finished the
in,
game and
it's been
And
nothing
then
but
you're out for a
concussions.
few weeks with a brain injury.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Hey, what do you think about your new role in Dennis
Um,
Allen's and Dennis
I think the
Allen's
way I'm
defense,
built,
Jaquan?
but I can't pull myself out. I'm just.
Maybe that.
I don't know. I can't.
I think you said recently that you've kept all the receipts.
Yeah.
Is that people doubting you or doubting the team or both?
Down the team, down me, whatever it may be. I'm keeping all receipts. Everybody who thought it was funny or everybody who talks about us, whatever. We're ready for this year, so I'm
Fuck
ready for
you,
this year. I'm
bullets.
back. Nine is back. I'm gonna do what I do. So people gonna say what they want. Curry's gonna say whatever, but I'm here.
Did you feel like you were being did you have to fighting with the team hey, I really want to play, or did you just feel like they were protecting you from putting yourself back out there? How was the relationship with the team at the time as far as figuring out what was the right?
You're trying to
move for
get
you
him to
make?
say.
I feel like
He
it was
went
great
to
both
you.
ways. I wanted
Right.
to play.
Hold on, pause it
Obviously, I
real quick.
couldn't.
Pause it.
They knew I
got
couldn't,
you.
so
He just said it.
just couldn't play.
Yeah, he
He
did.
fucking went to them
Yeah.
for help because he knew. Do you think they're gonna fucking be like, oh, Jaquan, we're gonna not let you fucking play, even though you want to play. Like they're gonna immediately nip that in the bud.
Right, and
Like,
Hendricks,
there's no way.
Hendricks is 100% right. Oh yeah, I mean, Jaquan, you're drooling and you got shit dripping out of your nose, but you know we're 4-11 and we need another safety. Get out there.
Right? Yeah, go kill yourself.
Yeah.
No, they would never have allowed him, regardless if he fought or not. Especially if they're a shitty team like they were.
Yeah. Man. 8 minutes in and we're still on concussions.
What were game days like for you when you were out? Did you watch it alone? Did you have people?
Yeah, I watched it with my family. Watched it. I was going crazy. It probably made it worse. So, yeah, I couldn't stare at looking at that TV. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, it was hard. You know, I want to be out there, especially if I'm not out there. I at least want to be next to my teammates or around them. You know, seeing, you know, hearing them talk or whatever, trying to communicate. You know, all that stuff was hard. But you know, obviously, you know, I got past that. I'm over it, and you know, obviously, I wanted to be out there, but I couldn't. So,
Well, this is obviously a big year for you. What do you feel like you need to prove?
just stay healthy.
Yeah.
I don't gotta prove anything. When Nan's out there, I make plays. I go attack the ball, and I come down and hit. I come down and tackle, and I'm a leader. So, really, just have to be out there.
These defenses
Last one.
play two high safeties a lot.
Mhm.
Like, what do you think that's going to do
Thank
for
you,
you
Courtney.
and helping you take your game to the next level?
Just really just like I said before, just show my versatility. Show I'm a switch arm knife. Even you know KB, and we're gonna have plenty of other safeties and or other DBs out there, which I love about his defense and how you know he moves pieces around. How we run so many different things, and we could all make it look the same or vice versa. Things like that. That's what I love about it. And yeah, and DA's you know he's smart and things like that, and I know he's gonna put us in the right position. So it's gonna be smooth.
Thanks,
Jordan. Appreciate it.
How about that for the last question? We get some football.
Yeah, well, here, let me bring up our guys. So this is, again, I don't know how you feel, Ivan. I'm very, very interested to see what Dennis Allen can do with Gervon Dexter. You know, we talk about the impact that Joe Tooney is going to have, even on a Dahlman, but on potentially on a Trapillo or Braxton Jones or Karan Amagaji, whoever ends up winning the job, the impact that he can have on them. I look at that kind of, you know, the same way with a Grady Jarrett working next to a guy like Gervon Dexter, and what just the sheer size and strength of Dexter, what he can do for a guy like Grady Jarrett. You know, I don't want to write him off.
He's a
but
big
yeah,
ass dude. We saw him at the draft party. He's
oh hell yeah,
he's a big dude. I'll say that.
He sure is.
Jerome, in what ways do you think that Dennis Allen's defense might, highlight your
Siobhan,
strengths?
have you
put
ever had
in
a concussion?
A good position this year to take off.
Yeah, I think because
What do you think
Coach
about
Allen's
Brisker's
defense is
concussion?
it's a lot of different, you know what I mean, he throws in a lot of different fronts, a lot of different ways to, you know what I mean, get after the quarterback and stuff like that. So I think the type of guy I am, I can play in a lot of those different fronts. So just being in it and the way, you know what I mean, he'll move guys around, the way the offense, he'll switch it up on the offense. It'll be good for not only me, but everybody on the defensive line and on this defense.
Grady, this is the next big step for you in your career development.
I think being more consistent, finishing. So yeah, just staying consistent is the next step for me.
Mentioned how you gathered some defensive linemen from the Bears and around the league in Miami. He also mentioned that you're a leader on this defensive line. When did that start to happen? How does that manifest itself?
I think I'm learning to be a leader. I would say just growing up, you know what I mean? Going into year 3, I played a little ball, so just taking that next step into doing some of those things and trying to step up and be the guy.
I need that voice because I don't know if that's necessarily Montez Sweat's style. Like, does it feel like there needs to be a leader?
I mean, there's different ways of leading. Obviously, like for me, when I watch Montez, he's leading in that way. I'm following him. So there's different types of leaders. We have obviously now we got Grady Jarrett who can lead by example and vocally. So yeah, I think a defensive line definitely needs a guy, you know what I mean, that can step up and let you know.
What did you know about Grady before he came here?
A lot. Yeah, I know a lot about Grady. Grady is one of those guys as well as Montez. It's crazy that I'm playing with both of them now. Both of those guys. That's growing up in like middle school, high school, I watched a lot of like D linemen. And I would like turn on turn on some of those type of guys tape before high school games and stuff like that just to see. So I know a lot about Grady.
What is his, for his MO as a pass rusher? He's got a lot of sacks from a position that doesn't always get that sort of, credit for it.
Right.
What stands out to you about his pass rush? What repertoire?
It's a lot. There's a lot. Grady, his effort is the number one thing. The way he finishes, the way he flies around and get to the quarterback. But he has a lot of moves in his toolbox that, like you say, some D tackles kind of like just go straight to power, or they do this. Grady, he does both. So he has a variety of different things that he can do.
Have you put on weight at all? What's your off season look like?
I put on some lean mass. I got a little leaner. Put on a couple pounds. Yeah, I did.
Are you lifting heavier? Or?
I'm lifting heavier. Yeah. You can tell. Yeah, you said it. Shout out Coach Pierre.
Grady and Justin Jones have now talked about how high your ceiling is. What does that look like for you putting that all together and having that kind of?
It's time to put it together. That's what it means to me. I appreciate those guys helping me, get to a point where I want to be. But yeah, it's time to put it together now.
How much fun was it for you watching Walter Clayton Jr. in Florida? You guys grew up together,
right?
Played together. How much fun was that for you?
It was crazy, man. I was screaming at my screen a lot, bro. That's one of my best friends, my little bro growing up. Just to see him get some of the success that he has and even more that's coming to him it was a blessing to see for sure.
Surprised that he chose basketball. I know he's a pretty highly ranked DB.
Personally, no, I'm not surprised. Just because I would try to get him to come every time, like let's go do some football work, and he's like, nah, I'm going to the gym. So I wasn't surprised. Nah.
What have been your impressions of Shamar?
Yeah, Shamar. Obviously, he has all the tools. He's very athletic, very talented. So. Getting another guy like that I'll be able to grow with and see him, reach some of the stuff that he want to do as well. So, appreciate y'all.
I liked it.
The way you play. How do you describe the fit?
So yeah, now we have Tyreek Stevenson up there, and you're gonna hear how Pat doubles back and tries to get Tyreek to say something different than his head coach did, and this is the shit that drives me nuts.
I love it. It's in most of the defenses for the corner is man on man. So it's mano. I'm gonna show you I've been working and I'm better than you, and I feel like that's can take a lot of the guessing out of the game for the corners.
It's gonna be a heavy volume of press man, I'd imagine. Is that right up your alley for what they're asking?
Yeah, I enjoy it. I like it. It gives me room to improve on myself, because if I get beat, that means I did something.
Imagine a corner not liking press
created a flaw
man
to allow you to win. So I like that. It just, like I said earlier, take out the guessing for me. So.
Al Harris is a guy who's obviously done it before in the NFL. Do you get a sense of where he can take you, or specific areas how he can help you improve?
Yeah, just by some of his little pointers with how you line up, how to look at the stance and how to look at the splits, and just pretty much understanding the system more than the player. And I feel like he's teaching all of that, and it's kind of rubbing off. Understanding that certain players run certain routes and certain OCs run certain concepts. So instead of playing the man, you play the concept.
DA's defenses have led the NFL in pass breakups, I think, for about 9 years now. What do you think it is about this scheme that's going to put the corners, all the DBs, in position to do that?
Honestly, how I look at it, he allow us to make our money. Honestly, you're a corner, you're a cover corner, and you got to cover the guys in his league. And his defense allows you to go out there and build your confidence up week after week, playing man after man on any receiver. So, just building that confidence up allows you to go make the plays or take them certain risks that you wouldn't take if you was never put in that position before.
after what
Tyreek,
happened?
how is the entire coaching staff overhaul trying to change just the vibe and the mood around here?
Pat tried to sneak
They
it
they
in right
real
there.
big on the details. Like I've been in a program, you know, Kirby Smart and all that, where the details is the main thing. But I've never been where it's like we're gonna go inside that detail and fix that. So I feel like the details that they are trying to install in us will help us on the field and kind of off the field with how we process everything.
Are you excited to have a fresh start this year after what happened to you last year and after what happened to the team last year?
Pretty much, yeah. Still with some of the guys from that team last year, and you know, we all want to be the best defense in this. The defense want to be the best defense this year, so I wouldn't say a fresh start. I would just say some of the guys come out with the same mentality. We add some pieces in, add some dogs, and now it's time to hunt now.
Ben said that he hasn't really talked to you about the Hail Mary play last year. Has Al Harris or any of the new coaches been like, so what happened there?
There's really no conversation need to be had. I owned it. It was a mistake. I just happened to play a sport where my mistake is just national televised, and I feel like talking to me and going through the meetings, they can see that I already owned up to it, and you know, I owe the guys from last year nothing but effort and myself, and they see that I'm putting it in. So there's really no conversation need to be had.
Do you remember meeting with Coach Harris during the pre-draft process?
Yeah, actually, I do.
He remembered it as well. What do you remember about that connection? It sounded like that was
just the similarities of press man that I like. He was teaching me some of the things that we going through now, and just the way we connected from being from South Florida. And when I spoke about some of the plays and how I understand defenses, it made him, gravitate towards me a little bit more. And we was just kicking around the building. I don't even think I did my full visit. We just me and him just chilled.
Is it good to link back up again in this capacity where you're going to be working together every day?
Yeah, no, it's perfect, honestly, and just the coach Al is. I know he's going to be on me every day, all day, and I appreciate that because, if I allow him to teach me and everything, he could take me to where I want to go.
I noticed in practice today, there was a moment where he kind of pulled. He always stands in the back, and he kind of talked to you for a while back there.
The hell was that
one of
noise?
those moments where he's just on you about, something?
Yeah, every play. And he let me know too, and I told him I'm cool with it. I don't care if it's the smallest thing. Like you ain't like my feet, you ain't like something. Because at the end of the day, if I'm at my best game, I help this team win. So you're just talking a little ball, talking a little technique, and just trying to better understand this defense as we going through this mini camp.
Well, there we go.
Nothing more to be said. I like that because there isn't. You're on a new team. It's a new regime, new fucking everything, man. Why would we bring that up?
Yeah, no, I and again, why are you trying to back him into a corner? It's just, I don't know. I just think it's dirty. You're talking about something, whatever week that was last year that the game was. I think it might have been week 6.
Yeah.
And imagine, Ben Johnson gets the job and meets Tyreek and, come here, young man. Let's sit down and talk about you acting like an asshole in Washington. I mean, come on. That just shows how unrealistic you are. Now, if you're going back and you're getting ready for the Commanders game and that comes up, 100%, I'm going to bust his balls about it and bring it up. But to go out of your way, and you're going to let your coaching, carry the big stick and set the standards and get that across, and not nitpick this shit from back in the past. And again, this goes back to, does Tyreek need to grow up? Yeah, he needs to grow up. 100%. He had some issues. I mean, talent-wise, he probably should have went higher in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
But there were some questions about character concerns. He was at UGA and then transferred to Miami for some stuff because he was playing the famous star position in Kirby Smart's defense. But listen, man, Ivan, you watched tape of this kid and of this defense, and when this kid is rolling, he's the most physical presence you got in your secondary by a pretty wide margin.
He will hit you in the run game. He will play good press coverage. He's like the talent is all there, but it's until we win and until he goes ahead and shows on the field that he's focused and that you'll have to just make plays and keep making plays and keep showing that you are a new man, a new person, a new player, whatever. But for me, Tyreek Stevenson can be a force. Like he can be, if Johnson is 1, he could be 1A. He doesn't necessarily
I hear you.
need to be the 2. He could be the 1A at corner. And then you add another guy who looks to have talent, looks to have some length in the similar build and mold as a Tyreek Stevenson. You'd be cooking with gas here if you could get both of those guys to work for you.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that this is a classic overreaction. I mean, that can have a lot to do with scheme and how many fucking times on 3rd and 15 are the corners playing 13 yards off the fucking ball. Ivan, how many times did we see it? Did you have any confidence that the Bears could stop a 3rd and 15?
No.
And a lot of time it didn't have anything to do with the DBs. There was zero fucking pass rush, and they're playing their fucking corners in soft coverage all the time. So it's scheme related, a lot of it. Now, did he get beat at time? 100%. That's the life of a DB. I mean, so did Jalen Johnson. That shit happens. But Dennis Allen, I think, is going to be a breath of fresh air with some of the things that he can scheme up on this defense and especially get after the quarterback. Listen, if you can't get after the fucking quarterback in the NFL, if you can't pressure the quarterback in the NFL, I don't give a fuck who you are. You're in trouble on defense. You just are.
Well, and I think I don't know if it's going to become a shot, but I think Ruben Hippolyte is going to play a big part in that pass rush with blitzing. Like it might be, he might even rotate, out in coverage, or they have a different package in. But if there's a down or a situation where they need pressure, I could see them bringing in Hippolyte, and he's going to try to go ahead and blitz in and use his speed to get after the quarterback. I could see that too.
No, I hear you, and listen, I'm just being honest. I didn't watch Ruben Hippolyte tape leading up to the draft, and if you were asking me to redo that pick right now, would I pick Ruben Hippolyte? I wouldn't. No. I'm just being honest. I'm gonna, stick to what I saw. Jack Sawyer would have been my pick there. No doubt in my mind that's who I would have taken in that situation. Was I going to reach for a linebacker? No, but it was pretty obvious that the Bears had the kid earmarked, and DA said openly the Bears need more speed, especially at the linebacker position, and that's probably the number one reason why Sanborn's not here. Now, would I have let Sanborn walked out the door for $1.2 million? If it was me, no, I wouldn't have. I would have kept him around for 1.2 all day long, but they wanted more speed. I mean, you can get that speed with Noah Sewell too, but he's never healthy. Right. And he had to leave the practice field, and he did come back in there the other day too, but he had Hippolyte, to his credit, has been getting a lot of burn in minicamp, and he's had some veterans saying some very positive things about him. He is an older player, kind of I don't want to say he's established in life, but he's, not a 20-year-old kid that kind of hasn't seen and went through some life experiences like Hippolyte has. When you're not invited to the combine, and what did he say? He called 2 or 3 times to say, are you sure that I'm not on that list? That those are those moments that, they give you pause, and you're like, oh shit, maybe I'm not as good as I thought. But the Bears saw something. Now, do the Bears deserve the benefit of the doubt? 100% they do not. They don't. But
Well, you talked about it, Shane.
yeah, we will soon see. When the pads go on and training camp opens up, Ivan, you're gonna be there probably pretty often. And what is the one thing that we've talked about with this team is overall team speed. And you look around what the Bears have done, they have definitely improved it. Have they improved it enough? I don't think so. But got to start somewhere.
Yeah, again, work in progress. I'm right there with you with the Hippolyte pick. I was thinking running back or, like you said, Jack Sawyer, a pass rusher.
Yeah.
But, as of right now, let's see how they do it. You have coaches that have been here, veteran coaches, guys. DA's been a head coach. He's been around
A couple
winning
of different times, yeah.
Right, been around winning football teams. Right, been around losing football teams. He's been around great players. He's been able to develop players young and have them become really good football players. So, like, I'll leave it up to them. I'll give the benefit of the doubt to the coaches as of right now because of what they've done, in their careers. But it's not a long leash, in my opinion. It's if these guys aren't performing and you made a mistake, own your mistake and move forward.
I agree, man. I totally understand it. And it's, just listening to Tyreek, to pivot off of the linebackers for a second, this roster at corner this is the one thing that I think Ryan Poles has, strangely enough, had a knack for bringing in corners that are very good. I mean, don't forget about a guy like Josh Blackwell, who they extended. He pulled him off the waiver wire from Philly. And I guess Nashawn Wright is getting a lot of reps. And that's the guy that, Al Harris specifically pointed out as an NFL free agent. It's 6'4" corner that's bounced around the league a little bit and worked with Al in Dallas, and he was recently with Minnesota. But man, you go through some of these corners, you actually forget about some of the guys. I mentioned Josh Blackwell, Alex Cook, Zay Frazier, who was another Al Harris guy that he pointed out. Obviously, Kyler Gordon gets the extension. Jalen Johnson, Nick McLeod, big time. I don't want to say big time, but a very good special teamer.
Mm-hmm.
Terrell Smith is a guy that we're high on. Amir Speed, we'll see on him, but Tyreek Stevenson, ultra athletic guy that hasn't really lived up to his hype that he had coming out of Ohio State, but you still have a guy like Sean Wade that is easy to forget about on this roster that's got probably still some upside. And then I mentioned Nashawn Wright.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, man, it's very interesting. And I don't want to give Nick McLeod too much credit, him coming out of Notre Dame, but you know how that goes.
Well, you want to be a winner, that's where you go.
Winner.
Anyway, anyway, no, I agree. I think I agree. I believe what they're doing is just the competition wise, like just seeing what these.
DG, he was a pace guy, but I'm just talking about the roster on here, and Poles is the guy that extended him.
Just seeing which guy wants to take a step up. You know what I mean? Like you have, even Terrell Smith. Can he be, take the next step in his career? Can a guy like Hicks take the next step in his career? Just the more competition, the more you're going to get out of your players, and you'll see, the guys that want to be here will separate themselves from the guys that don't. And then there's going to be some tough decisions. There's always tough decisions, but you want that. You want that. You want there to be guys performing so well for you that it's hard to make that decision. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be tough to make the roster. Like Poles originally said, tough to make the roster means competition is going to be present at all times.
Absolutely, man. And and now they got to pivot and start attacking, this defensive line. At some point, it's going to be. I know Albert Breer and Brad Biggs and guys have said they would be very, very surprised if the Bears put in an offer for a Trey Hendrickson. But to me, I just think that's foolish. You have a guy on a rookie scale contract for a reason specifically like that. The more fastballs, and I understand you're going to have to give up some sort of compensation for him and pay him, but listen, the proof is in the pudding. And this has been a guy that 35 sacks over the past 2 years, and he's averaged around 14 and a half, maybe the last 3 or 4 years combined. But it's definitely got to be a place that they're going to attack. I still look back at this fucking draft, Ivan, and I don't want not to go down the negative channel again, but how the fuck you didn't come away? How the fuck you didn't come away with a defensive end is simply baffling to me. And I go back to if I would have talked to you and Phil on fight night and said, according to some inside sources, the Bears are going to take their first running back in round 7, and they're not going to draft a defensive end at all, you guys would have told me that I'm a fucking crazy person. But that's exactly what happened. And I don't want to hear the BPA bullshit either, because you can't tell me that you're going BPA all the time in a draft like this when you watch 1920 Football Drive and he's like, oh, we got these picks now, so I want to attack linebacker and here and here. So that don't tell me you're going BPA. You may be going BPA
At
a
that
position
position.
of need.
Right.
You're not going BPA overall. So I think that's very, very important. Kind of get lost in the sauce with people, because he did that last year too. You remember when they were in like the 3rd round, and he was specifically talking about Torrey Taylor in round, going after the punter in round 4, and he was worried. If you remember, he was worried about Cincinnati taking him. But so that BPA, like I said, it's always fun to say, but I don't think it works out that way very often. I think it's actually probably pretty rare.
No, and also I'll go back to the Hippolyte pick. It just felt like they were taking turns at that point. Like, who's your top guy, DA? What position do you think we need the most? All right, Ruben Hippolyte's the number 1 guy. All right, well, here we go. We got Ruben Hippolyte because DA wanted him. He's the number 1 linebacker for DA at this point in the draft. So, and look, that's fine. Like, if you want to do that is okay. But when you have something like a stretch like Hippolyte, for example, that's when I'm like, all right, what are we doing? That pick, I feel like needs to be starting. Like that pick needs to eventually be a starter in this league. And I just don't know if Ruben Hippolyte is going to start.
Ivan, you can back that up to Ozzie Trapillo.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
As a 2nd round pick, if he's not starting, that's a fucking problem for me. And I'm not saying that he needs to be gifted the position because of draft status. But when you have 3 2nd round draft picks like the Bears did, those can't be guys that don't have a pretty major impact on your team. They have to. And God damn it, if you're drafting an offensive tackle in round 2, he better be a fucking starter.
Right.
He better be. I know Luther Burden with the soft tissue injury and shit like that. It's not preventing him from fucking trying to overtake Juju Smith-Schuster with all of his fucking TikToks that he's sending out constantly. But just go get healthy so you can get back on the field and put the phone down.
Fuck you, Bullets.
Oh my God. Don't follow Bullets on TikTok. It's a fucking circus. Holy shit.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's just, that's the thing, man. We have no recourse other than to just see how this plays out. And you can back it up to Colston Loveland too. And again, I'm not negative on Colston Loveland, the player. I think he's going to be a very good player. I do. I think he's got a shit ton of talent. My tight end one. It's just the process of getting you there, man.
Yeah.
Braggs has been really high on. Listen, I love Greg, and I will be completely honest here, and I would say this to Greg's face if he was on with us. I actually sent him a text, and he's got to get up early in the morning. I invited to see if he wanted to come on just for a couple of minutes, but he's got to get up early. But I saw the blurb from Greg on CHGO when he talked about that, and it's 100% just based on nothing but gut. It's not based on anything. And it's exciting that's fandom coming through. That's what you want. This is my expectation of Ozzy. He better fucking play and play good. He was a high draft pick.
Right. I'll give you no, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just give you my insights on Greg. Shitty bricklayer. Also can't run very fast. Also can't throw a spiral. Just letting you know. So yeah. Just a little insight on Greg.
There you go. But no, that's the thing. And like I said, I'm not picking on Greg, but it's not based on tape. It's just based on a gut feeling and excitement for wanting. Listen, I get it. We've all been fans, and we've all been there. I wanted Kevin White to work out. I wanted him to. I didn't feel real great about it when they drafted him, but you still want him to work out, and hopefully he does. Ozzy seems to have a real good head on him and seems like a smart kid, but 6'8" offensive tackles, man. You better get some bend in there, because there's some dudes in the NFC that can fucking get around that edge real quick. And if you're playing left tackle, that's the fucking money spot.
Mm-hmm.
You're protecting the old franchise back there. So let's see how that works out. But listen, he's gonna get his shot, man. And I will give Hogue credit there for pointing that out, because if you do go back and watch it, Ian Cunningham definitely says that. And I mean, I put a lot of stock into that. Pick goes in, Ozzy Trapillo, Cunningham stands up, hugs, pulls. We got our offensive line. You're making that comment because your expectations are you just drafted your left tackle.
Right.
Let's just be honest.
Right. And it's not anything against Ozzy. It's just, like you said before, do you trust him? No. You know what I mean? And Ozzy very well might become the left tackle of the future. But as of right now, I don't see it. Maybe we just need to see them in pads. Maybe we just need to get to the, to the season. But I just think you kind of pencil in Braxton, right? And Karan's the guy that's going to be working in competition, because I believe that Ozzy can be a solid player in this league. I just don't know if he could be the left tackle that we need. I don't know.
Yeah, we're about to find out. That's the thing. And I mean, to me, if I want to go off the Greg Braggs approach and give you the gut feel, is I think they want Ozzy Trapillo to win the job. I think that Braxton Jones is their safety net if healthy. And in terms of left tackle, I think Karan Amagaji is on the outside looking in. Mm-hmm. And I think that he's probably much more of a project in their eyes than anybody was expecting, except, I mean, we kind of talked about that. I know he's got some attributes that you like, but let's be honest. I mean, if Calvin Banks is on the board at 10, I still happen to believe that Calvin Banks is going to be the pick over top of Loveland. And so that kind of tells you your thought process of when you have expectations of drafting Karan in round 3 the previous year to be a potential left tackle. Like I said, but at least it's giving the Bears some young guys with for depth with some upside, and that's something that we're definitely not used to. And one more thing that's interesting, Ivan, I don't know if you saw did you see the behind the scenes of the draft with the Carolina Panthers?
Oh, I have not.
So they put out their, I think it's called the blueprint or something like that, maybe. I know it was bouncing around social media, and they had strong conversations with the Rams about a trade where the Rams would come from 26 all the way up to number 8. And the full belief was the Rams were trying to trade up for tight end Colston Loveland.
Oh,
Just
shit.
like they tried to do last year with Brock Bowers. If you watch their behind the scenes stuff where the Rams are trying to come up, and that goes in, and that goes hand in hand with the reports that were out there. I believe it was Rappaport was talking about all of the calls from teams a little bit, in the mid first round and later first round. There was a bunch of teams trying to trade up, and there was a ton of phone calls being made. And as soon as the Bears drafted Colston Loveland, then all those phone calls stopped. So that would, I know you're taking bits and pieces of information, and I know not San Diego, but the Chargers were also a team that was talking about trying to potentially move up. So that's a tip of the cap to Loveland and his talent. I just don't like the process of drafting a tight end in the top 10.
No, yeah.
I never will. And it has nothing to do with the talent of Colston Loveland.
It answers the tight end question, right? It answered one question, but then it left in its wake a whole bunch of other questions. It just the defensive end, the defensive pressure is the biggest question. It's like, okay, defensive end, not one, and then you had those stats from before. They've only drafted 10 in the past. What was it, 25 years, Shane? Something like that.
Since 2005, they've drafted 10 defensive ends. 10.
The past 20 years, you've only drafted 10 defensive ends.
That's not just in the first round. That's rounds 1 through 7. 10.
Right. It's hard to get behind it when we were told by Brian Poles. He's like, we're gonna build through the draft, right? Then they tell us we're gonna focus on the offensive line or focus on the lines, get better up front, and the first thing they do is draft the tight end. Right. That's what gets me. It's like, okay, best player available, like you said, best player available. That might as well go out the window. You know what I mean? Like,
so I did a full breakdown of the NFC North and actually tweeted it out, but I'll just give you the Chicago numbers. So there's just some interesting things in here when you break it down team by team. So since 2005, the Green Bay Packers have had 201 total selections since 2005 in the NFL draft. The Chicago Bears, 154. That is a massive difference. 201 to 154. Massive difference. The Detroit Lions in that same time frame, 162. The Minnesota Vikings, 181. So the Bears are in last place, of course, in that. But to get to the Bears, so the total selection breakdown, the Bears have drafted a defensive end 10 times since 2005. 10 times. They've went defensive tackle 13 times, and those are in rounds 1 through 7. Offensive tackle 14 times. Offensive guard 12 times, rounds 1 through 7. They drafted a center, I believe it was 3 times in rounds 1 through 7. And so that means that the trenches were drafted in rounds 1 through 3. So rounds 1, 2, and 3, the Bears have addressed the trenches 24 times in 20 years over that time frame. But they're not like Minnesota. Rounds 1 through 3, they've drafted trenches 18 times in the past 20 years.
Yeah,
So it's just
the focus isn't where I think it should have been. But then again, they went ahead and they added through free agency this year, and I'm not necessarily talking about this year, but that's something that cannot continue. Like the
Right.
lack of focus up front. You drafted 2 offensive linemen this year?
well, 2, yeah,
2. Yeah, drafted 2 this year.
yeah, Trapillo and Newman.
Right, and you missed like the biggest one was his first draft. He had a shit ton of picks, and you missed on majority of them. Majority of those guys aren't on the fucking team, bro. Not on the roster anymore. And a lot of those guys were late round linemen.
Yep.
That I don't know what Ryan Poles was doing. Thought he was this offensive guru, finding these guys late that never panned out. So again, I want to see that emphasis, that focus moving forward. Like, not necessarily become the Philadelphia Eagles, man, but maybe take a little bit from their blueprint on how to build your offense and defensive line and how to keep your player, keep not only your defense off the field, but keep that offensive line healthy and in a rotation.
Right.
Both lines healthy and in a rotation.
Right, and so it actually gets a little bit worse if you want to squeeze this down even more. So one of those defensive ends, so you have 10 total. One of those was Shea McClellan, who they moved to middle linebacker in year 2. So now you're back to 9.
9.
But so if you want to compress this even more and just focus on Ryan Poles,
Yeah.
Ryan Poles' first draft was in 2022. And of course, he didn't have a first round draft pick from the Pace and Nagy trade when they went up the year before for Justin Fields. So that's not on him. But they took Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker in the second round that year. But since 2022, Ryan Poles has drafted how many defensive ends? 2. In that same time frame, he's also drafted 2 punters. And the highest pick out of all 4 of those players was Torrey Taylor, a punter.
Like I said, it's when you look at the track record, Ryan Poles is being held up. And I mean held up by the Bears organization.
The Bears do not draft defensive ends, Ivan. They pay for them in free agency or they trade for them and then pay them. That has been the Bears' history for a couple of decades.
Yeah, no, I agree. But when it pertains to Poles, again, look at the draft picks. Phil did it. Me, Phil, and Cherie. We went through all the draft picks.
Yeah.
There have been astronomically more misses than hits. You could count the hits on one hand, but you need 2 at least to count the guys that he missed on.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude. I mean, you want to know why the Bears? You can go back to the Jerry Angelo Bears, and that's under Lovey, and that's where they did most of their winning. But they should have been way more consistent than they were.
Yeah.
And we did talk about we traded for Jay Cutler, so we're all set. But their first move in the draft after the Super Bowl loss was who? Greg Olsen. That was their draft pick. But you also follow that up with Dan Bazine, a second round draft pick that never fucking played a snap in the NFL. Not one second round draft pick.
Yep.
You guys have all heard this. The Michael Okwo, same draft.
Never played.
2007, round 3 out of Stanford. Never played in the NFL.
I don't.
Joaquin Iglesias, third rounder.
Oh,
I
God,
saw him have a touchdown in Buffalo in a preseason game. He played one NFL snap, and it was for the Minnesota Vikings. The pool jumper, Jaron Gilbert, third rounder, played 5 NFL games. 5. Those are premium picks.
Mm-hmm.
And not you didn't just whiff. They didn't make your fucking team.
Right.
Or anybody's team. Jaron Gilbert played in 5 games. I think most of them were with Buffalo. Third round draft pick. Yeah, Dusty. I remember Dusty Dvorak. Yeah, actually, Dusty was a very good player. He just couldn't fucking stay healthy. Defensive tackle out of Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, not only are you missing on guys, they're not even NFL caliber.
Right.
I have a whole fucking breakdown. I should just do like an entire show on Patreon to make everybody vomit into their laps with all of this. But then you wonder why the Bears are consistent, because they're consistently inconsistent in the front office and with their breakdowns.
Right. Again, you can't take what they say as 100% truth. Like, you can't expect them to make the right decisions. You can't expect them to draft the right, personnel. But all we could do right now is hope that with this guy and Ben Johnson and this new coaching staff, that whoever they put out there, they're going to be coached up well and they're going to perform. That's my hope. That's my hope. Because
right. And Javon, he's a first-time GM. That was in 2022. Was his first time. This is 2025. So, I mean, I don't know how it's like ESPN 1000 saying that they're the new home of the Chicago Bears. They've been saying that for the past 2 years. When are you not the new home anymore?
When you're just the home.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's got to learn from his mistakes. He's made plenty baffling. I mean, major. I'm just being honest. If I'm the owner of the Chicago Bears, Ryan Poles is not my GM. After this past season, he would have been launched. He would have been launched.
Eberflus, the whole staff.
Oh, Eberflus would have been gone a year before.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But it's just, I mean, don't settle into the fact that he's a first-time GM.
What? Yeah, he kind of has to be better than he has been, Jeremy. Like, we pointed it out.
I don't know. Maybe don't double down on Flus and don't have your first fucking most important hire after you gut the offensive staff with the coach that you picked out. Maybe don't hire Shane Waldron. I don't know. Maybe start there. And when you realized that he was so awful and players were coming to you in training camp telling you how awful he was.
Yeah, he got us. He also got us. What was the wide receiver's name? Claypool. Traded a second-round pick for Chase Claypool. Went ahead and signed. What was the fucking guard's name? The worthless. Our right guard came from Tennessee.
Jeremy, nobody is saying that you need to be a perfect GM. Jesus Christ.
You're just making an excuse for him, Jeremy.
Right,
You're just trying to make excuses for him. We're pointing out legit reasons why we have skepticism on Ryan Poles and his job. Nate Davis, thank you, Zane. And we're pulling it up. Players after player after player after player. Bad decision after bad decision. It doesn't mean that he can't go ahead and correct these things. But to this point, he has not done a great job, and he has been held up by this organization, by the powers that be, because they like who he is as a guy. I don't know. That to me is how it's being played out, because he has missed.
Exactly. I mean, do we need to talk about Velus Jones? He was offered draft picks for Velus last year in training camp. He turned him down. Velus has been on what? How many teams since Chicago? 3?
He's alive. Remember that shit?
Yeah.
He's alive my ass. He should have been fucking cut.
But that's the thing too. Yeah, and Eric brings up, Nate Davis. Yeah, you're taking the gamble on a young offensive lineman, but also the gamble on the young offensive lineman when there is a lack of good offensive linemen in the NFL and a team that just kept on drafting offensive linemen, just let them walk for free. The Patriots' new head coach couldn't fucking stand Nate Davis because he was lazy and lethargic in Tennessee and didn't want to practice and also didn't want to play. Ryan Poles rewarded him with what, $33 million? Yeah, it's a problem. I mean, yeah, he made a great trade with Carolina.
But again, he only gets that pick and he only gets to fucking trade that pick if he doesn't. Let's say the Houston Texans don't score that fucking touchdown, Shane.
Right.
There is no Caleb Williams.
Right.
And what are we talking about? Now what are we talking about?
And Jeremy, the thing about it is you can say that hindsight is 20/20. If you listen to us, we were making the tough move with Flus. Before the fact, we said that the Bears are always a franchise a year or two too late rather than a year. Listen, what have the Bears been consistent with? Let's back up the fucking clock all the way to Cade McNown. The Bears draft Cade McNown. What happens? He's an asshole. It didn't work out, right? So then you go and you fire Dick Duran. And you go and Lovey comes on board. But before you bring Lovey on board, what does Dick Duran and the Chicago Bears do? They draft Rex Grossman in 2003. And then they fired the head coach after 1 year. And then they brought in Lovey.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens? John Fox is here. You go out, you draft a quarterback with Mitch for 1 year. And what do? You fire John Fox after Mitch's rookie year. You bring in Matt Nagy. It plays out. Can't fix Mitch. Can't unlock Mitch. End of the rope. Rather than fire Nagy, what do? You let him draft Justin Fields. And after his rookie year, what do? Gone, right? It's just, it's over and over and over again. And guess what? You just did it again with Caleb. Matt Eberflus should have been gone. When you were secured with the number 1 pick, everybody knew. Everybody here said you're drafting Caleb. And what did you do? You did the same fucking goddamn thing that you've done for the past 23 fucking years when you've drafted a quarterback. It's been one and done. They're not learning. Hindsight isn't 20/20 for Chicago. They look back and they're like, fuck it. We're going to stick to our blueprint that doesn't work because at some point we're going to luck out.
Mm-hmm.
So it has nothing to do with hindsight. It has everything to do with the Bears' flawed process. And it's very flawed. It is.
No, I agree. It's what we've seen, man. Like, we could only tell you what we've seen. Now, is there, like I said, is there time for him to change this narrative that he's built for himself? Then absolutely. I could see it. It all comes down to winning. The praise that I'll give Ryan Poles is that he chose Ben Johnson. He drafted Caleb Williams. Like, there's things that he can be praised for. But when it comes to putting players out here and some of the more egregious mistakes, those are some you've lost a year of your franchise quarterback because you didn't want to get rid of a coach the year you should have gotten rid of him. You didn't want to make that hard decision. Like that to me, those are big ass mistakes that can't be swept under the rug.
Right. And it wasn't I don't want to say too much here. From everything that we were told, it had nothing to do with Kevin Warren. We'll just say that. So look higher.
Yeah.
Because what we were told was that Kevin Warren told Ryan Poles that he wanted him gone. But if Ryan Poles had enough belief in him, then that he would let him try to right the ship with him. And it blew the fuck up.
Mm-hmm. That's something that I think was a mistake with Warren. Warren, he should have came in with guns blazing and just been like, you know what? I want you. I don't want him. But you both could be gone if we don't make this decision. Like that to me. And I know you're trying to build this relationship and have this, this good like back and forth with each other, but when push comes to shove, man, and if he had that feeling about Eberflus, he should have pulled the trigger. He should have played. I think he's going to be more assertive now moving forward when it comes to things like this. If it comes down to,
I totally agree there. I think you're 100% right, but he also doesn't have the juice in the organization anymore.
Yeah,
that goes with the $14 million man in Ben Johnson, because who's getting fired next? It ain't Ben Johnson.
Nope.
It's Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles is the guy on the chopping block next. I hope they figure it all out. To go back to the draft, I didn't love day 2. The Burden pick I would have 100% made, because I made that comment about Burden if he had dropped there. I thought Ryan Poles got pushed around like a fucking pinball on day 3.
Mm-hmm.
I did, in a big way. And I don't want to hear people say, oh, it's only day 3. What the fuck? But Chubb's dropping in here with the super chat. $5. Ben Johnson was taught the right way from everything that I've heard. He is meticulous, assertive, detail-oriented, and knows the nuances of the game. And yeah, I mean, Chubbs is right. You heard Tyreek Stevenson talking about. They take the fucking detail and they split it apart, and then they go inside that detail to break it down more. And that shit was not happening, guys, before. So Chubbs is 100% right. So Chubbs actually going to be Monday Night Football game, Bears versus Minnesota. So Chubbs, I did talk to the guy there for you, Mr. Atoshin. So you guys are ready to meet up and hang out and have a good time before the game. But Ivan, I don't know about you, but Phil's not here, so I think we should totally take advantage of getting the fuck out of here a little bit early.
That sounds awesome.
I mean, we're over 2 hours. Cherie's been texting me saying, "Can you stop talking to these fucking fans and let's just get the fuck out of here?" You know how Cherie is. She's so salty.
First of all, the fact that you think that us ending the show at 2 hours and 49 or what?
Exactly. That's what I said.
Problem.
Do a couple 3-hour bangers in the off season and keep this shit to 90 minutes. Even 90 minutes is 2 hours, but some people that aren't here with us tonight just don't shut the fuck up, Ivan. You know how that goes.
Yeah, it happens.
The more I open my mouth, the more I realize just how dumb I am.
Fuck you, bullets.
Oh, so Cherie?
Yes.
What's new before we get out of here? How's everything going? Everything good?
No, I got albeit. So
welcome to the fucking world then. That's the story of my life too. Cherie's in the housing market, and so is this guy over here. But man, it's fucking brutal out there.
Yeah.
It is, and she's got a fucking Chicago White Sox thing over top of her head, so she
I
can't even,
didn't- oh,
she
wait.
can't even watch baseball. Oh, it says Chicago Bears. I thought it said White Sox for some reason.
Mm-mm.
Do you even watch baseball?
When the Sox are good.
Oh,
So never.
so no. You don't.
It's been a while. I will go to a game, though. I was thinking about going to that Baltimore game, but
Ivan's a
Quite
season
broke out.
ticket holder at this point, probably, aren't you?
Oh, not anymore. May. It's already June. Yeah, the tickets. It was only till May, end of May.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. But well, with that being said, I mean, do you guys have anything else you wanna talk about and cover?
Yeah. Nope.
I don't think so either. Let's take it out with one of the oldies but goodies, and we'll get the fuck out of here.
Oh, this is Claudio the Barber. Yo, 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 this is Claudio the Barber. Oh, this is Claudio the Barber. This is Claudio the Barber, and this is Shy City Sports Keeping It 100. Listen, it's Jesper Horsted's world, and we're just all living in it. Oh, this is Claudio the Barber, and this is Shy City Sports Keeping It 100. I see you, Sherry. I see you.
This is Michael the fucking killer right here. All right?
Never mind. Take him off. I can't even understand him because of the mask. It's done. Take it off.